John Fredericks, America's Godzilla of truth, popular and proficient in picking politics with prophetic precision. And now Jay Fred's picking football. Y'all ready for this? All across the airwaves and streams of the John Fredericks Media Network. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla Wins, your guide to picking football winners. With America's Godzilla of truth, John Fredericks, along with his partners in point picking, Jack and Nate. Also weekly contributors to the website of winners, GodzillaWins.com. Before you make that play, hear what J. Fred has to say. Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network.
Oh yeah, for entertainment purposes only.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's December 3rd edition of GodzillaWins.com, the college football preview show, where we bring you expert analysis, not only from some of the biggest games of the day, but some offbeat ones too. Today is championship week, so we've got all the Power 5 conference games going today, and we've got a couple smaller ones as well to round out our pick six. I'm your host, Nate Perry. I'm live in Reno, Nevada at the Calneva Casino. I'm joined by Jack, who is live in Tunica, Mississippi at the First Jackpot Casino. Michael Coleman is in Richmond headquarters in the captain's chair, and we are here to talk about some games. Jack, how are you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm great. I'm ready to get after some of these college games. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Do you want to lead with a little World Cup here? We have USA Netherlands to lead things off. Starts at 10 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that. You've been a little bit more locked into the World Cup this week than I have. What do you think?
Oh, I am absolutely dialed in the World Cup. I went 5-1 yesterday. I am feeling it in the World Cup right now. We had a little bit of a lull midweek, but we are back. And I'm fired up for this USA Netherlands game. It's round of 16. USA is advanced out of group stage. And now we're playing on house money now, it feels like, for the U.S. team. And this feels like a really good spot for the U.S. I already have my money on the U.S. How are you going to bet on Netherlands if you're an American right now? But I already have my money on the U.S. And I think really the key for this game is how well they played against England, right? England's by far and away the most talented team they played. They didn't play particularly awesome against Wales or Iran, which are more defensive-minded teams. They were more focused on slowing the U.S. down than sort of scoring against them. And the U.S. didn't play awesome there, but they did play really well against England. The Netherlands is probably the closest comp to England they played. So I like America here to advance. Jack, do you have any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, again, as you say, it's difficult as an American not to put your money on the USA for this game. They did play really well against England. I thought they played fine against Iran. I mean, they were able to finally score a goal, which was important for us in order for us to move on. The problem with the Netherlands is that, you can't end this game in a draw. If you do, it's going to go to penalty kicks, and then we'll see what happens. But I think that if we're just betting from the heart, maybe you take the USA, you take that half a goal, I think is the spread. If you are betting with your head, you might want to go with the Dutch. They've been playing really well as well. So England might be the best team that they face, but the Dutch are not really a slouch. So I don't know. I mean, for a guy who fades his favorite football team all the time, you seem pretty raw about the USA here.
Oh, I love the USA here. I mean, they're 3-1 to win in regulation. That's where I bet them at. They're plus 310 right now, regulation. We aren't getting to penalty kicks here. We're just going to win this thing outright. Let's go USA.
Wow, 3-1. That's some pretty nice odds in a round of 16.
Dude, plus 310 is awesome odds. Are you kidding me? Of course I'm taking it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. When's the kickoff? 10 o'clock Eastern time?
10 o'clock Eastern time, yeah. So we got about 90 minutes to kick off. A little bit less, I guess.
So look, that's what you do. You watch our show or you listen to our show here. You get all your football picks in, and then you switch on Fox and watch the USA win another major game here. We'll keep hopefully we keep grinding in the World Cup. I'm glad they're winning a lot. I unfortunately have to work, so I can't watch a lot of World Cup. But I know that you don't really have much going on, so you can watch a lot of World Cup. So good for you.
Yeah.
Want to get to the college there?
Yeah, let's start with college. Do you care where we lead off with, or do you want me to choose it?
Oh, I'm ready for everything. Whatever you want to talk about, I'm ready to talk.
Well, let's just go in your sweet spot then. We'll just go SEC first off. We'll just lead with LSU Georgia right here. LSU Georgia. I'm looking at the spread. It's LSU plus 17.5. The total is 51.5. LSU and Georgia are in Atlanta for the SEC title. What do we like here, Jack? You want to lead off with this? This is your wheelhouse.
Yeah, right. The SEC, where I don't think I've the winner in a long time. Definitely my wheelhouse here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you got to go to GodzillaWins.com. If you're listening to the show, just click, go ahead and type that into your search engine, GodzillaWins.com. You're going to see Brian Butcher's Georgia SEC Championship preview. He's our Georgia beat writer, our senior Georgia analyst, and he does these incredible previews. So go ahead and go to GodzillaWins.com and find that first off. I got to say, this feels like easy money for Georgia, a team that is just heads and shoulders better than the Tigers. But that 17.5 spread is a lot for any championship game, especially one like the SEC championship. I'm not saying Georgia can't go out there and win by 20 points. They have, in my opinion, Georgia and Michigan have the two best defenses in the country. So they're going to be able to contain Jaden Daniels a little bit. But all LSU has to do is kind of stay feisty and stay in the game. 17.5 points to me is too much to lay for an SEC championship game. These games are just close. I don't care who sneaks in. LSU's beaten a lot of really good teams. They beat Alabama, Texas A&M, who I guess stinks. They beat Florida early in the season. They beat Ole Miss, who stinks, but they did beat Alabama, so that's good. So I'm going to take LSU plus 17.5. I got a lot of ties down there in South Louisiana, so we'll go with the Tigers here. Hate to bet against the Dogs. I think the Dogs end up winning this game, but 17.5 is way too many points, so I'm taking the Tigers. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's boring when we agree, but I absolutely do agree with you here. 17.5 just feels like too much. I mean, LSU's been playing really well. Jaden Daniels has been excellent. He's passed the ball, pretty well. But running the ball is really where he's a threat, right? It's the dual threat that makes them a dangerous offense. Granted, they are playing Georgia. Georgia's an unbelievable defense. I mean, that much is certain. So, do we think that Georgia wins this game? Probably. I agree with Jack. Is 17.5 too much? It feels like it because they're pretty evenly matched in a lot of these metrics, right? LSU has a really good rush offense. Georgia has a really good rush defense. So it's just sort of a coin flip as to who has the edge there, right? And they basically match up like that all the way through basically every metric that you look at. The only real difference that I see is when you look at the Pro Football Focus stats, LSU is a little bit worse in coverage. They're worse in tackling. They're worse in the PFF grades, but in terms of just overall stats, they match up really, really well. So this game figures to be pretty slow. They both play pretty slow. LSU and Georgia run pretty slow tempos. LSU runs a play about every 26.6 seconds. Georgia's 28.7. If we're looking at a lower scoring game, it's hard to see how this game just gets totally out of hand and Georgia just runs away with it. So I also sort of lean towards taking the 17.5. You want to play the under, it's not the worst play in the world, but I really do think that probably just taking the points is probably safer. I just don't see a scenario in which Georgia just runs away and beats them, 35-0 or 35-7 here. All right. So let's get to one of our offbeat ones, right? This is championship week. So we only have 4 of the five power conference ones playing today because USC played last night. So the Pac-12 is already decided. Utah won. And a pretty easy win there. So we have to throw you some offbeat ones. We are going to the MAC championship where the Toledo Rockets take on the Ohio Bobcats. This is what everyone has been waiting for. We have a noon Eastern time start, so you're going to want to get that in right after the USA men's team plays in the World Cup. And the spread right now is Toledo -3, and the total is 54 points. I'll lead off with this one. I like Ohio here. I think Ohio is just sort of a sneaky team here, and I think that they're sneaky because their defense is pretty good. They pass the ball pretty well. They do have good passing numbers, but I just sort of like Ohio here. The numbers bounce around. Earlier in the week, it was Ohio +1. Now they're +3. It's clear that the smart big money is on Toledo. It seems like, but I just sort of like Ohio here. I think that they can give the Toledo defense a little bit of problems. 3 points is a pretty good number. So I'm going to go with Ohio here. I don't have a ton of nuanced analysis in this. We're just we're trying to pick games that are going today. Obviously, these are all conference championship games. They're all important to somebody. I love Ohio here. Jack, do you have any thoughts on this really quick?
I think that the issue with this game is that both quarterbacks that have started all season for both Ohio and Toledo are a question mark. I believe Ohio's quarterback, Curtis Rourke, is out for today, and he is incredible. He's one of the reasons Ohio is in this thing to begin with, and they're going to have to turn to one of their backup quarterbacks who can run the ball a little bit more. So Toledo's going to have to game plan a little differently, but it seems like that's one of the reasons I think the line kind of moved, is that Curtis Rourke's not going to be playing, and he seems to be just an incredible game changer. As far as Toledo goes, they have a pretty good defense. They're, I think, the best defense in the MAC. They got a good success rate. They can be susceptible to the explosive play, I believe, but overall, I think Toledo has a pretty good defense here. So I think, this is one of those games where, like Nate says, you've only got a couple games this week to watch. So you might as well hammer all of them, because why not? One of the things with college is it can be hard to spread your money around 20, 30 games. But right now we've only got maybe 6 or 7. So you might as well, throw a little money on the Toledo-Ohio game, see what happens. You never know. You could maybe sneak in a win after you get killed at the SEC championship or something like that. So what I'm going to say is I want to take the under here, just because I think I like Toledo's defense, and I am a little worried about both quarterbacks. I think there might be a lot of interceptions, just kind of a game that in the first half is 10-7, not 20-17. So I'm going to take the under at 54.5 and see what happens, just because of the quarterback uncertainty for both teams. So Nate likes Ohio. I like the under there.
All right. We are moving on. We're just going to ping pong around here and sort of bounce one lower tier game with one higher tier game. We are going to go next to the Big 12 championship, where the Kansas State Wildcats are playing the TCU Horned Frogs. That is also a noon Eastern time start. You can catch that on ABC. And this line feels fishy, right? So we have the number 4 TCU Horned Frogs playing number 10 Kansas State. Kansas State somehow, though, is just a 1.5 point underdog. So the spread is K-State plus 1.5. The total is 61.5. These teams have already played each other before. Kansas State kind of survived kind of a mess in the Big 12 and to be able to make it here. And they're playing TCU. Jack, do you want to lead with this, and then I'll sort of follow up with what I like?
Sure, yeah, we can lead here. I know who you like because you've been on these guys all year, but we'll tease that for a couple minutes. So TCU Kansas State. This has got to be the biggest game in TCU's history. The Horned Frogs are number 4 in the country. If they win, they're in the college football playoff. If they lose, they are not, and they probably won't ever get back to this spot for a long time. This has been a weird Big 12 year. As soon as Arch Manning goes to Texas, it's going to be all over for the TCU Horned Frogs, never getting back in the college football playoff as long as I live. So this is the year. If you're a Horned Frogs fan out there, if you went to the Texas Christian University there in Texas, where are they? Where are they, Nate?
The TCU Horned Frogs?
Yeah,
they're in Dallas.
Where is TCU? Dallas, right?
Dallas.
Right. Every college in Texas seems to be in Dallas. So put another one in Dallas. TCU, baby. This is your game. You got to win this. You have to. You have to win this game. You have to get in the college football playoff. If not, it's over for you. You're never getting back to this spot. This is the biggest spot in TCU Horned Frogs history. So I like TCU. Their defense isn't very good, and Kansas State actually has an incredible defense and might win this game. But you can't. You can't lose the game, TCU. You can't lose the game here. So I got to go TCU minus 1.5, just because without this game, it's over for every TCU fan for the rest of your life. This is it. This is the moment. You lose this game, it's over. So I'm going TCU 1.5. We got to go with our heart here. Go Horned Frogs. Go Dallas. What do you think?
Yeah, so I'm in the opposite boat, right? I love K-State here. First of all, because I love chaos in the college football playoff, right? We already saw a little bit of it yesterday. USC lost to Utah. I was all over Utah, wrote it up for Godzilla Wins. You can go fact check me if you need to. We were unlucky to hit the under there when Utah scored basically a meaningless touchdown with 1:24 to go in the game, but that doesn't matter. Utah won, and it set off what is sure to be probably a weekend of chaos. We'll have some reshuffling of the college football rankings, and I like K-State to continue that here. This is a rematch, right? So TCU and K-State have already played. K-State races out to an 18-point lead at halftime. They end up getting smoked by TCU in the game. They lose by 10. They don't score in the second half. So what we're getting here is a little bit of a grudge match game, but I like K-State here. TCU is always been sort of a little bit vulnerable on defense. We've sort of been talking about that. We've been writing about that for the column. They aren't super good at sort of getting teams to punt. They aren't great at forcing turnovers, and they're not very good at getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And that's going to be a problem. What are they good at?
You just named everything they're bad at. They got to be good at something. They're in the championship.
Well, they are pretty good. So they have a pretty good secondary. They're pretty good against the pass. But they're not very good at getting after the quarterback, and they're not great at stopping the run game, which is going to be a problem against K-State, right? So K-State is looking like they're going to be without Adrian Martinez again. He's their sort of dual threat quarterback, but Will Howard has come in as a sort of backup, and he's been really good passing the ball. He's 13-2 touchdown to interception ratio. He's been great in pretty clutch situations where K-State has really needed him as they've sort of gone further in the season. So I'm not worried about them from that perspective of having to play the backup, because he might be better without Martinez. Sure, the playbook is a little bit more limited, but Will Howard should be fine. So I think that he should be able to pass against this team, especially if he has a little bit of time. So I like K-State here. Above all, this line just feels really fishy, right? It feels like they're just baiting you to take TCU. That's really my sort of final consideration here is I like K-State. It's really hard to beat a team twice, although Utah did it yesterday against USC.
Wasn't that hard?
Shout out Utes.
Yeah.
But I like K-State here. I like the Wildcats to be able to hold a victory this time. You know, they had it in their hands last time and blew it. This time they make it right. So I'll take K-State here plus points.
Yeah, you're wrong.
And
let's move on.
Wrong. Okay.
Wrong.
Should we say a word about TireGet, Jack?
TireGet. Oh my God. We almost forgot about TireGet. It's 7:45.
We're in the tire business.
Yeah. Look, we're in the tire business. Look, the other day I'm driving home. I live in the middle of nowhere in Mississippi, and when you live in Mississippi, there are just things in your yard. I don't know how it happens. You just have everything in your yard. I've got air conditioners. I've got chickens. Sometimes I have just trash all over the place. When you live in Mississippi, you have things in your yard. So the other day I'm driving home, and I get in my driveway, which is not really a driveway, it's just dirt, and I run over something, and it's a huge piece of metal. And I'm thinking, oh, no, there goes my tire. But that's okay, because I got TireGet. You probably didn't know my dad is in the tire business. He can't hang a picture. Even Nate knows he's never owned a toolbox in his life, but he loves tires. We love tires. So you got to check out TireGet. If it wasn't for TireGet, I wouldn't have been able to replace that tire when I ran over some random piece of metal in my yard. They have an awesome selection of tires, all made in the USA. We love that. We love the USA. Hey, USA's playing today, playing the Netherlands. So the Netherlands cannot make tires. The USA can. We know that. Don't forget to put in the promo code Godzilla. That's promo code Godzilla. Get 5% on your next set of tires. We've got affiliates in your town. If you need to change a tire, they can do that too. TireGet.com. Go there right now. Promo code Godzilla. We almost forgot, Nate. I had to tell that story. You know, TireGet. We love tires. We are in the tire business.
We are in the tire business. I just have them stacked out on the breezeway outside my apartment. I'm just waiting to use them. All right. So let's get Absolutely. So let's get to another sort of offbeat game. We are talking about the Sun Belt, sometimes known as the Fun Belt Championship. We have Coastal Carolina taking on the Troy Trojans. The Chanticleers are an 8.5-point underdog. They are Coastal Carolina's plus 8.5. The total is quite low for college at 47.5. I'll lead off here. What we're looking at is a game in which Coastal Carolina is bringing their second-string quarterback in. Their starter McCall is out. It looks like he's not going to play, so they have to turn to Jarrett Guest, who started the last couple of games, and he has not been good. He has thrown 4 interceptions, 1 touchdown, and completed less than 50% of his passes so far. So we're looking at a team that is sort of limping into the Sun Belt Championship. This is a pretty proud program. They've been really good in the Sun Belt the last 3 years, but this is not sort of the best team that they can put on the field right now. So we're seeing a team that's sort of limping in, and then they're playing the Troy Trojans, who are playing really well. And they're playing really well defensively, which makes this an even tougher matchup for Coastal Carolina. The Trojans allowed 17 points per game, 4.4 yards per play. That is really, really strong defense right there. So this total is low for a reason. It feels like you think, 28-21, we get over the total. Don't be fooled here. These teams play pretty slow. Troy's not exactly an offensive powerhouse. Coastal Carolina's got their backup quarterback who's not very good. I just don't see a clear path to them being able to score over 47.5 points. So I'll go ahead and take the under here. Jack, do you have any thoughts on this game?
Troy, baby. Coastal Carolina without that quarterback there. So that's their guy. He's been the reason that they have won these Sun Belt championships. They're always really good. But this line plummeted when McCall was announced that he was not going to play. So Troy has a really good defense. They play, like you said, very slow. They've played really well. They're like 9-2. They've won like 9 games in a row after losing to Ole Miss and App State, which is respectable, and they're killing it against the spread. 7.5 points, a lot to lay, but I'm taking Troy. I mean, this is a game where you got a banged up quarterback, and you're playing for all the marbles here in the Fun Belt. So let's go Troy minus 7.5. Love that play. A lot of people are on Coastal Carolina because they see value in that plus 7.5. I do not. I think Troy runs away with this. This is a good defense, and Coastal Carolina is without their star quarterback. So Troy all the way, minus 7.5.
Interesting take there. All right, now we are moving to the ACC championship.
Oh God!
I suppose Clemson still has an outside shot if it's just total chaos. Maybe to make the playoffs, but it's going to be tough for them. This is probably a fairly meaningless game in terms of college football playoff. This is probably only meaningful if you're a Clemson fan or a UNC fan or just a diehard ACC fan. I'm not even sure if those exist for football. Just a diehard ACC guy. But here we are. We have Clemson, North Carolina. Clemson's the number 9 team in the country. UNC's coming in at 23. I have been all over. I think I've played the over in the last 17 Clemson games in a row. That's what it feels like. It feels like I write it up every week and I look at a Clemson game and I think, oh, the over. Now, does the over cash very often? Sometimes. But do I play it every week? Absolutely. So the reason that I like it is because I feel like we're still just sort of fading the sort of Dabo Swinney defenses of the past, right? We all think that Clemson puts this great defense on the field. They've had great defenses in the past, but this defense is a little bit more vulnerable than previous ones, particularly the secondary. They give up a lot of big plays. They give up passing plays. That is going to be a problem versus Drake May and this Tar Heels offense, which is explosive. Drake May has been, if we were just rating MVPs for the college football season, Drake May is right there in terms of the most valuable player for his team. Without Drake May, North Carolina stinks. Their defense is horrible. Their offense would not be the same without him, but here they are. They're, a ranked team. They have a great record. They've had some good wins. And Clemson, on the other hand, has been playing pretty good offensively. I've been avoiding saying his name on the air because I don't want to embarrass myself, but I'm going to say it here. DJ Uiagalelei has been amazing for Clemson. He has a great PFF passing grade. He has He's really good with the deep ball, which should be a problem against North Carolina's very vulnerable defense. I think the over is probably the safest play here. Clemson's minus 7.5 points. The over/under is 63.5. I like just going over 63.5. I'm not sure if either of these defenses can slow the other offense down, so I'm reluctant to lay over a touchdown here, but I do like the over. I think this is going to be a high-scoring shootout. Probably the last team to hold the ball wins. So I like the over 63.5 points here. Jack, do you have any thoughts on this ACC game?
I'd probably rather just go to tireget.com and look at tires than watch this game. I'm so mad at the ACC, and I'm so mad at Clemson. Every week I've been picking Clemson.
Clemson's your ride or die.
Week. Yeah, I know. They're my ride or die, and all I do, we're dead. I don't have any more money left. I can't play any more games because Clemson cost me my Christmas money. It's over. It's gone. There's nothing left because every week I hammer Clemson, and every week they don't cover. They don't even win. It's not even close. And maybe they do win. All I know is I lose. I lose. Clemson wins. Doesn't matter. I've been losing so much, and I'm with you because I've been susceptible to the idea that Dabo Swinney can just turn this thing around, and it doesn't matter that the defense is ranked 50 in the country. It doesn't matter that the offense isn't that good either. Dabo Swinney will get this done, and they'll end up conference champions. I'm done with it. I'm not picking them. I'm so tired of them. And let's just go with UNC here at plus 7.5.
UNC plus 7.5. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Tar Heels plus 7.5 because I can't keep losing money on the Clemson Tigers. They'll probably win by 45 points now that I said that, but we'll just stick with the Tar Heels because I don't understand. This team is supposed to be good, and they're not. Their defense isn't good is the problem. So the over is a really good play here as well because the defense, both defenses stink, and Drake May is incredible. It's probably this point total is probably going to be 105. It should be like a basketball total, but let's just go North Carolina plus 7.5. Maybe the last person that has the ball wins. So that 0.5 right there, that 7.5 is nice because maybe you win by the hook. So plus 7.5 Tar Heels. Let's get to my favorite game this week, the Big Ten Championship, baby.
The Big Ten Championship that we all expected. The Purdue Boilermakers taking on the Michigan Wolverines. That is going to kick off at 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be on Fox. Purdue is a 16.5-point underdog in the Big Ten Championship, and the total is 51.5. I have been riding this Michigan team all season long, it feels like. I am a huge Michigan believer. In years past, I've been a gigantic Jim Harbaugh skeptic, but this team has just felt different, and they've felt real. Every time they've been in a big game, this team has responded incredibly well. I mean, we were all over them last week when they played Ohio State, and they thrashed Ohio State. When the rubber hit the road, shout out Tireget, Michigan really responded. So I love Michigan here to win again. I just don't see how Purdue is going to be able to stop them. Purdue's defense is terrible. Really, the only reason in their game speaks to the sort of weakness on their side of the conference. I don't know how they get here. I don't know how they slow Michigan down. Ohio State can't slow Michigan down. I don't see how Purdue does. I think Michigan probably just coasts here. The only way that Purdue stays in this game is if Michigan takes their foot off the gas, which would be really, really atypical. Basically, Jim Harbaugh never does that. He's not a guy that just coasts, and he's not a guy that really likes to pull starters. He's a guy that loves to run up the score. That's just sort of what his MO is. He's always done that. He's done that dating back to when he was at Stanford, and they ran up the score on USC, and Pete Carroll almost fought him on the sidelines. So I think Michigan probably just runs away with this again. So I'll take Michigan here. It's a big point spread. It's a huge point spread for a Power 5 conference title game, as big as the SEC one, basically, with Georgia and LSU. But on this one, I think the favorite is just so much better. So I'll take Michigan here. Jack, do you have any thoughts on this?
We got about 30 seconds before you got to take us out here. So August 28th, I wrote hammer Purdue plus 600 to win the division. Boom, cashed. Odds to win the conference plus 3,000. All you had to do was throw $100 on this, and you'd be so pumped for this game. And I told you to do this. August 28th, it's right there in ink. I told everyone this Purdue team was for real. They went 8-4 last year. Here they are again. They won the division plus 600 ticket cash. I'm taking Purdue plus 16.5. I want them to win the conference so that I can brag about this for the rest of my life. I love Michigan. That's one of my favorite teams. It's where all my family's from. But I'm taking Purdue, baby, Boilermakers, plus 3,000 to win the conference back there in August. Here we are just 4 quarters away. Take us out, Nate.
And we are going to be right back with the Godzilla of Truth to do the NFL segment shortly. Quick word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network. For a deeper dive without the jive, visit the website of winners, GodzillaWins.com. Let's get back to the show with the guys in the know, John, Jack, and Nate. It's Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network.
No, it's great to have you here. This is your NFL edition of Godzilla Wins. Go to GodzillaWins.com. Every day, great content there. This thing is growing by leaps and bounds. I want to thank my editor-in-chief, Jack Fredericks, my son, for running the site. He's doing an excellent job. Our senior contributor, Nate Perry, who is with us. And we're rocking and rolling today. We had lots of NFL games coming up, and we are fired up. You can follow us, too, on Getter Live. You can go there. Go to GetterLive.com. In fact, Christine, I'm going to ask you to be sure and post on Getter Live that we're live right now, Christine, on Getter Live. So she's going to do that with me. We're on day 6 or 7 or 8 of our bus tour. I kind of forget. 8 maybe. And we are in, where are we, Christine? LJ, Georgia, right? We're in Blue Ridge, Georgia. Fannin County, and we're going to be here. And I think we're in Roswell Monday. But anything you need, just go to megabusstore.com. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the NFL and NFL games and the big slate of games we got coming up. So I am in LJ, Jack in Tunica, Mississippi, and he's getting ready to roll at his casino there. And, of course, Nate is in Reno, and he was on a roll last night. He had the big winner last night, Utah, in the upset over USC. So Nate Perry on a roll. But, guys, great to have you with us. And I tell you what, I couldn't do the show without REM Sleep. And I don't know if you guys, you see me on Getter right now. REM Sleep, one of our sponsors, they're absolutely fantastic. You got to go to healthycell.com. I'm showing you a picture of it right now. Just go to our feed on Getter Live. Just go to healthycell.com, promo code Godzilla, and you get 20% off on your first order. These things, they're not habit-forming. They're all natural, but they put you in the deepest sleep. You dream like crazy. I mean, if I'm getting 5 and 6 hours a night, it's got to be solid. You can't be getting up 3 times. You know, I got the CPAP going. I got the snoring machine going. I need that sleep. REM sleep, this thing is, when you don't have it, my son Joe, the athlete, takes it. You got it. Ann takes it. You got to take Christine takes it. It's fantastic. REM sleep. Just go to healthycell.com. You're going to thank me later when you started getting the best night's sleeps you can. It's easy to do. Just 20 minutes before you go to bed, tear off the top, you down it. Healthycell.com. There's other things on there too. Go to healthycell.com and just put in promo code Godzilla. And hey, that's as easy as that. You're going to be able to save 20% on your first order. Now, we want to get the Getter comments coming and rocking and rolling. We got a big, this is kind of now you get into the weeks that really start separating the teams out. And, guys, we got a massive slate going on. A lot of games now are going to determine playoff positioning, home team as we go forward. And just in honor of me, I'm going to start with the Tennessee Titans-Eagles game. We're just going to get this done right off the bat. Now, here's what's interesting, okay? This is fascinating. I'm going to get Nate's input here, right? A week ago, when it's open, I bet the Titans, I get 6.5. Yay, right? Now I look at the game as 4.5. Who the hell's betting the Titans? I thought the Eagles were the best team in the history of the world ever, right? They're 9-1 or 10-1 or whatever the record is. Yeah, Tennessee's going there. This is called the AJ game, the AJ Brown game. Tennessee only 4.5 after laying that egg at home against Cincinnati last week, beat by the Bungles again. And, of course, the offense sputtered. The Bungles put 8 on the line. Derrick Henry got nowhere. The defense couldn't stop 3rd and 15s. and so they lose. Look, obviously I'm going to bet the Titans plus 4.5. I think this is a trap game. But, Nate, how did this line go down?
I think the line went down because everyone knows how good Mike Vrabel is as an underdog, right? He's unbelievable as an underdog. As over a 3-point underdog, he's 19-9 just straight up, which is unbelievable. And they look like the sort of perfect matchup in a lot of ways to sort of slow the
Hey,
Eagles
Nate,
down.
I'm getting static from you on your phone. I want you to hang up and call back until we
Okay.
fix the audio with a number of things we're trying to do. And so, Michael, he's going to disconnect and go back. Let's go to Jack. Why is this game? Why did this go down from 6.5 to 2.5 in 5 days? So 6.5 to 4.5. Go ahead.
That's the reason. People do respect Mike as an underdog. As an underdog, he wins all the time. The Titans keep covering against the spread, and their red zone numbers are still pretty good, although not as good as they were early in the season. The biggest problem, though, is that the Philadelphia Eagles cannot stop the run. They almost lost to the Jeff Saturday show over there in Indianapolis, and they lost to Washington, who can run the ball as well. Heineke can run the ball a little bit. So the Titans, it's Vegas's biggest need right now, I think, is the Eagles. The Titans, the most money of the week is on the Titans. So people love the Titans because they can run the ball, and the Eagles can't stop the run. This is probably a game where you might even consider the money line here at plus 180, which is not great, but still a little bit. You can do that if you want to, but I like the plus 4.5 too because the Eagles can't stop the run. Until they can show you that they can stop the run, you can't bet them. Not against a team like the Titans, who of course are going to run the ball down everybody. Even if you can't stop the run, the Titans are going to run it.
Well, I love Tennessee here too. The other reason is this is absolutely a must-win game for them. I mean, the disaster again, getting beat by the Bengals last week. I mean, they allowed 3 3rd and 10 pluses in 2 consecutive drives where, you know, that was their bugaboo a couple seasons ago. They just couldn't stop people on 3rd down. And, you know, one of the passes I thought was a drop. They gave it to them, whatever. The bottom line is they got the L. So this is a must-win game for them going to Philadelphia. And you're right, Philadelpha's shown vulnerability to the run. Titans have a great defense. And, you know, even though since Cincinnati won last week, I mean, had we not had a penalty against on the, what was it, the holder, which was dumb. I mean, we were getting the ball back with 2 minutes to go with an opportunity to go down the field and tie the game. And Tannehill's done that a lot. So I was pretty confident that we were going to get in a position to maybe, you know, tie the game or go for 2 and win the game. And then that happened. So I'm with you. I like Tennessee plus the 4.5. Here's my rule. I never bet the money line when I can get points ever. That is a no-no because you can cover and then ends up losing the bet. So I never do that. I'll bet the money line if it's the favorite and I don't want to give 2.5 or 3, you know, maybe I'll lay $1.50, but I don't like taking the money line when I get 4.5 because, you know, this game could end up, you know, 21-17 and then you win the bet if you bet the cover, but then don't if you bet the money line. Nate, you're back. Titans, Eagles. Give it your best shot.
I am back. I like the Titans here too. I like them plus 4.5. I agree with Jack as well. I like the money line. So I think we're all in agreement here.
Okay. So we both like Titans. Jets going to Minnesota. Wow, this game, Minnesota coming back, you know, from looking so good. -3 at home over the Jets, who changed quarterbacks, and then absolutely had a blowout game last week, which really shocked me because he ended up losing that bet. But, you know, White was incredible. I mean, maybe that was a jolt the Jets needed. Jets have a great defense. I mean, the Jets are for real. And, you know, Minnesota, I mean, I bet him on Thanksgiving Day. I won that bet, so I was pretty happy with that. But they don't inspire a lot of confidence. I mean, they don't have an explosive offense. You know, the defense is kind of okay. It's like everything is okay. It's like they just manage wins, but they're not an inspiring team. You don't really look at any piece of them. I mean, I thought Dalvin Cook would have had a better game last week than he had. So I'm going to start here with Jack. Minnesota -3 at home v Jets.
Yeah, I think you got to like the Jets here in this spot. I think that's probably everybody's pick. Maybe a little bit of a trap game there. Maybe Minnesota runs away with this, but the Jets should be able to lock up Justin Jefferson. That's their big problem. There is Jefferson is most targeted, one of the best wide receivers in the game right now, and so you got to think, okay, well, if Jefferson can get open, get some separation, maybe he goes for $150 and 2 touchdowns, and the Jets can't score, so that's a problem. But we're just gonna. To me, I want to hammer the Jets here +3. I like Sauce Gardner in this spot, locking up Justin Jefferson. I don't really love the Minnesota Vikings, so just gonna go Jets +3.
Nate, what do you think?
I think that the Jets are not that good, right? Everyone is sort of thinking about Mike White. They're sort of looking at what he did against the Bears. He played great against the Bears. He did. But the Bears are terrible right now. They have basically no NFL starter-level players on their roster without Justin Fields. Their offense is horrible. Their defense has been getting sort of traded off piece by piece. So I'm not sure if that's the best way to judge how Mike White is going to play for the Jets. So I like the Vikings here. This may be a trap. I may be a sucker. But Vikings -3 just feels weird. So I like the Vikings here. I'll just go ahead and take them. The Vikings are a real team, and I'm not convinced that the Jets are without a real running threat and without like a real quarterback. They're basically a defense-only team. So I think the Vikings can score enough to cover this 3 points, and I'm not sure the Jets can score.
Jets keep winning. I mean, that's the bottom line. I've been against them last week after the debacle that Zach Wilson had, but they keep winning. I've been very fortunate with them. I mean, I think the only time I bet against them was a week ago, and it cost me. Look, I like the Vikings as a corporate management team. It's basically what they are. It's very uninspiring. If they get behind big, they're done. The Jets have a really good defense. They're going to sack Cousins. I like the Jets at 3. I'm going to take the 3 on the road with the Jets. Okay, so let's move on. Jack and I like the Jets, and Nate's going with the Vikings. I need a big week this week, guys, because I got off to a good start Thursday night with the Bills, but I need one of these like 13-1 weeks to get back in the hunt here. So I got to really.
We're not going to talk about last Sunday.
No, we're not going to talk about the complete
Don't want to talk about last Sunday.
No, we're not. I mean, look, you could just go to GodzillaWins.com. Everything is there. I didn't have the best of days on Sunday. Had a great Thanksgiving and had a great Monday night. So I did get some of my money back, but the Sunday was not particular one that I would write home about, to put it lightly. Okay, Browns go to the Texans. Texans are just a disaster. Browns -7. I can't figure this team out. I have yet to win a bet on Cleveland this season. I bet against them, they win. I bet on them, they get blown out. I just every season I get a team like like this. I forget who it was last season. I think it was Jacksonville, right? Every season I get a team like this where I can't win. So I'm just going to bet Cleveland and lay the 7 because Houston is absolutely horrible. I mean, this is not even a professional NFL team. They are that bad. They got smoked last week in Miami. Cleveland doesn't win on the road, but Houston is so – I can't bet them. So I'm going to go with the Browns -7. Maybe I'll get lucky and win a game. Jack?
Yeah, the Browns are killers. One of the problems with the Browns is that when you want them to run the ball, they pass, and when you want them to pass the ball, they run. Here's the thing, though. Deshaun Watson's back. I believe this is the week where he comes back. So you got to think, okay, well, if he's coming off the couch, then maybe he's coming off a little slow. This is kind of – I don't know if it was a coincidence or not, but they're playing the Texans. Big storyline here. I think I'm going to go Browns -7. If Deshaun Watson is even remotely useful, they should just blow the Texans out. The Texans stink. We all know that. There was a time and place in early September where I thought maybe the Texans might surprise some people. The only people that surprised were me because all they did was lose. They stink. So I'm going to go Browns here because, Nate, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Deshaun's playing this week.
Deshaun is playing this week, and it makes me sick that you guys are taking the Browns here. Deshaun Watson has not played a game. When he suits up on Sunday, it will be his first game in 700 days. Almost 2 calendar years, Deshaun Watson has not worn pads and gotten hit playing football. And you guys are willing to lay 7 points there? I can't do it. I mean, there is no such thing as a coincidence in the NFL. They knew exactly what they were doing with the schedule. They knew exactly what his suspension was going to be. And there's a reason that this is his first game back. It's because the NFL is just sick. And I can't lay 7 here. First of all, I can't lay 7 with Deshaun Watson ever. I probably can't ever bet the Browns again with Deshaun Watson because he probably shouldn't be playing right now at all after what he's done. And I certainly can't lay 7 in what is probably Houston's Super Bowl, right? His time there did not go well, and I can't see how this isn't the most fired up they've been for any game. They would love to put it on their former quarterback, who all he did was ask for a trade, get suspended, blah, blah, sit out. I don't see a bigger spot for Houston on their schedule. This has got to be a game they circled. I'll take 7 points here. No, this is a no-brainer for me.
All right. You like Houston. Jack and I like the Browns. We'll move on. Here's one of what I think is one of the best games on the card. Who would have ever thought? Washington going to New York. Washington's the favorite right now at -2, going to a Giants team that I was a big fan of for many weeks early in the season. Now they lost 2 in a row. They're coming back down to earth, and the 2 losses they really didn't look very good. Washington's won 5 out of 6, 3 in a row. They're looking better every week. Heineke is a legit quarterback. Their defense is for real. They have a running game. The Giants have Saquon Barkley, and that's it. They got a pretty decent defense, but everybody was saying for a long time the Giants on paper, they're playing over their heads. Now that's starting to play out. Let's start here with Nate. What do you see in this game quickly, Nate?
I like the Giants here. The Giants just have so much to play for, right? They've been sort of on a slide. Washington's probably playing a little bit over their heads now, and the Giants are probably underperforming. So I like the Giants here.
Jack?
Oh, Washington. You kidding me? I am on the Commanders. I cashed a huge money line when they beat the Eagles. They have been looking good. They're trending in the right direction. The Giants are one of those teams that got really lucky early in the season. I've won a lot of money betting them. Now I'm going to fade them the rest of the year. I think Washington, I have a future on them to make the playoffs. This team is good, and they're going to continue to be good. Tyler Heineke has all the tools to be a successful quarterback in the NFL. We love the Commanders here. I'm going Commanders.
Here's the bottom line. Washington's got a legit defense. And you guys know me long enough. I like to bet good defenses because I know I'm going to be in the game. Now I was over like Jack. I was on the Giants at the beginning of the season. I won like the first 5 or 6 bets with them, except when they beat the Titans, obviously the opening game, which was lucky. But Washington, this team's for real. I mean, they got a running game. Heineke's not throwing the interceptions to the extent that he was. They play great defense. They got a great coach in Rivera. He's got him playing a smart ball. It's a young team. I mean, I don't know why they don't go into New York and win this game. And look, the people that were saying the Giants are not that great, they're not that good, they're not a 7-3 team, and I was saying, hey, you are as good as your record says you are. Now they're 7-5. So you are as good as your record says you are. I love Washington here. I'm going to lay the 2. I think they go on the road and win this game, and I think they control it. And the thing that yet you're seeing about Washington, guys, is, and we just got to be honest here. I mean, they're not winning games coming from behind, right? They're getting ahead. They're running the ball. They're playing good defense. They're ahead at the half. They're ahead in the third quarter. Maybe another team catches up. You look at the Atlanta game last week. Washington got out front. They were ahead the whole game, and then they get an interception or a tip ball in the end zone to win it, to seal it. But it's not like they're coming from behind with Hail Marys. I mean, they're playing solid football. So I love Washington here, -2 in New York over the Giants. Okay. Who on earth can bet the Denver Broncos? Going to Baltimore, They're a 9.5-point underdog. How do you bet this team? I mean, the Ravens have their problems, but the fiasco, guys, going on in Denver. I mean, and you saw what happened last week. The defensive players were yelling at Russell Wilson because he's so pathetic. They were screaming at him because they're out there busting their tail game after game, and Denver just can't get a first down, and they're exhausted and they're hurt. This team is falling apart. The Russell Wilson signing has got to be one of the worst free agent signings in the history of the NFL. As bad as the Ravens are, they got beaten in the game last week. Again, they should have won. They're not that good either. They're at home. Denver doesn't score. Basically, Baltimore's going to win this game, 16-3. I mean, they don't score. So I got to go with the Ravens minus the 9.5, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, so the Broncos are the weirdest team in the NFL right now because if they would just average 18 points per game, they'd be like 9-1. So their defense is a top 5 defense, if not the best defense in the NFL. And Russell Wilson can't get into the end zone, and they're paying him $250 million to get in the end zone. Not only that, nobody went to his birthday party this week, which he was sad about and upset in the locker room. If you go to GodzillaWins.com, you can read my This Week in Sports column where I give you all the best sports news. One of the stories we had was Russell Wilson's birthday party disaster. So nobody went to his birthday party, so he's sad about that. So I'm going to go here. You got to go with the Ravens. Minus 9.5 is a lot of points. Actually, no, I don't like that. It's too many points. I'm going to change. Let's go with the under. You got to cash the under in these Broncos games. The under here sits at 39.5. It could be 36. I'd still take it. I know Baltimore can score, but Denver's defense is too good. Denver can't score. Under 39.5. Nate?
All right, Jack took my pick, so I'm going to go a different way. The under has to be the play. I agree with Jack, but I'll go a different way. Just because the Broncos are a weird team, and the under has cashed 10 times this season for the Denver Broncos, and it has lost once. They are 10-1 going under the total. So the under is like the no-brainer, just trend play. Because they can't score. They can't score, and they stop everybody from scoring. That's the bottom line. And it's not Russell Wilson's fault. It's a coaching problem, I think. I think it's probably a Nathaniel Hackett problem, and he's going to get fired soon, and maybe Russ will get like a real coach who actually knows how to call plays and manage a game. So I think the under is a strong play. Because the under feels like a strong play and it's such a low total anyways, I think that the Broncos probably have to be the play. I take the Broncos here, getting over a touchdown. They tend not to get blown out just because their defense is so good. And I'm not really sure that anyone's scared of the Ravens, particularly their end-of-game stuff. The Ravens just blow leads. This feels like a backdoor spot, so I'll take the Broncos.
You're actually betting the Broncos?
I will bet the Broncos.
You're actually going to bet Denver. You're going to take 9.5 points with a team when was the last time they scored a touchdown?
The Ravens
September?
just lost to the Jaguars. They're terrible.
Yeah, that's true. The Ravens are not good. But listen, you go to GodzillaWins.com. You can read Peter Krybel's analysis on every Ravens game. Even he maybe thinks the Ravens aren't very good, and he picks the Ravens to win every single week. He thought they were going to go 14-2. So even he is quote unquote sick. So yeah, maybe the Ravens.
Well, the game
the Broncos
they lost.
Will play here.
I mean, the game they lost to Jacksonville last week was just. I mean, another game they have a lead. I mean, they get beat like that by a team with a couple wins. I mean, there's something wrong with this team. And look, that's why. Look, I bet the Titans will win the Super Bowl. I bet them at 40-1, 28-1, 30-1, 35-1. This AFC guys is wide open. I mean, Kansas City's not that good. Buffalo has had their issues. Baltimore's not that good. The Bengals, that was a gift when they had it at Nashville last week. None of these teams are dominant. So I love my Titans at 40-1. I hope we play the Ravens. We're going to beat them. I don't care who we play. I think they're going to be good. But I can't believe you're betting Denver. But hey, that's why they call it. That's why we have this show, right? Get differing opinions. I don't know what a square bet is, but if I ever heard of what, I've never figured out what that means. But that's a square bet. All right, let's go to Jacksonville at Detroit. Of course, I shouldn't be talking after the disaster I had on Sunday. Let's go to Jacksonville at Detroit. Come on, guys. I mean, give me a break. Detroit +1 at home. Jacksonville wins one game. that they were out of the game. I don't know what happened to the Ravens. He decided to stop playing. Give me a break. These are the games that drive me nuts, right? I'm betting the Lions, all right? They're at home. They're pretty good. Jacksonville's terrible, right? They win a couple of games that didn't matter at the end. Detroit's been in a lot of these games, even though they got beat, right? You had, what, 5 or 6, their number one score games, they got beat. It's one after the other. I love them at home here. I love them coming in and beating Jacksonville. I'm going to take one. I love the Lions. Go Lions. Jack?
Go to Nate. Sorry, I was looking at something else.
Nate, go ahead.
John, it makes me nervous when we agree on something this strongly. I love the Lions here too. They're getting better. They didn't play very well when Amon-Ra St. Brown, their sort of stud wide receiver, was injured. They're playing a lot better with him. The running game is good. The passing game is good. Jared Goff has been serviceable. The defense seems to be improving. It was a young team, so we always thought that maybe they'd improve, and they seem to be. And the Jaguars are not – they're still just not a trustworthy team for me. I was all over the Jags early in the season. I've stepped off that train. I just don't think they're reliable. They got sort of a fluky win last week. Everyone's all over the Jags. Rah, rah, go Trevor Lawrence. But I just don't see it. This just looks like an obvious Lions spot. I'm just hammering the Lions here.
I love the Lions. I mean, why not, right? Why this team is getting better, and I love their coach, Dan Campbell. Look, they have no defense. We all know that, but they move the ball a little bit, and I love them at home, so we're going with the Lions. Jack, you're odd man out here.
You know, I got those Detroit roots. A lot of family in Michigan. Love that Michigan family. I got an uncle that texts me every week about the Lions. All he does is complain about how he has to be a Lions fan. He wish he was born in Wisconsin, but unfortunately he was born in Michigan, so he has to be a Lions fan, and all they seem to do is blow leads. But this is not a game they should lose. I mean, Detroit plus – I can't believe Detroit is not favored in this game. I know Jacksonville just beat the Ravens. We just talked about that.
To me, I'm with you on that. I mean, it's another
team
team
the Bills to overtime.
That gets no results. Exactly. I mean, are you kidding me? They're +1 at home against Jacksonville because they win a game last week? You got to be kidding me. I love the Lions. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're all in agreement. Lions here. That probably means that Jacksonville will win by 2 touchdowns. So that's what's going to happen. Right? Everybody needs to bet the Jaguars if we all think the Lions are going to win.
Okay, cheeseheads go to the Bears. Can it get any worse in Green Bay, guys? I mean, if you're a cheesehead fan, can it? What have they lost? 7 in a row, something like that. I mean, can it get any worse for the Packers? And now we find out that Aaron Rodgers broke his thumb, but he's still playing. Now he says, well, maybe his receivers aren't that bad. They lost 7 in a row. The Bears are equally as pathetic. I bet them last week. They got blown out. I guess they got Justin Fields is supposed to come back. I mean, you just can't bet teams that don't win, right? I don't bet teams that don't score Denver and teams that don't win Packers. I mean, they just don't win. And I don't know. They might lose out as far as I'm concerned. I mean, this team has packed it in this season. And Rodgers, you talk about a disgruntled. He's got to be the nation's #1 disgruntled employee, right? Right, Jack? The Bears are at home. I don't care what the line is. I cannot bet the Packers again this season. The Bears run the ball a little bit. The Packers have no run defense either. So I'm going with the Bears. Hopefully Justin Fields comes back and his shoulder's okay and he can run the ball. I'm going to take the Bears plus 3.5 in Chicago. The Bears. Jack.
Aaron Rodgers could be playing with 2 broken legs. He's not going to lose to the Bears 2 times in a season. It's just not going to happen. The guy owns Chicago. I don't care how good Justin Fields is.
No, they beat him the first game. They beat him the first game. They beat him on a Sunday night. No, they beat him on a Sunday night.
Oh, that's right. I'm thinking about Bears 49ers, that first game that they played. Right, yeah, so, right. I mean, that's the thing. Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears. He doesn't lose to the Bears. You got to go with Green Bay here. Broken thumb or not, I don't care. He's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I'll lay the 3.5, no problem.
All right, Nate, you're the tiebreaker.
It's always a problem when me and John agree. I think that the Bears are the play here. I mean, so Aaron Rodgers has a broken thumb. He has broken ribs. and it looks like he's going to play. He's returned to practice. So whatever version of him is showing up there is going to be the most hobbled version we've seen of Aaron Rodgers. And all he's done is go 1-7 in his last 8 games. So why do we think now is the time that he wins? I don't get it. I mean, obviously, I bet on the Packers when they beat the Cowboys, but they've lost every other game in the last 2 months they've played. So I don't see it. They do struggle against the run. Fields practiced in full on Thursday. He looks like he's a go for this game. The offense is totally different with Justin Fields for Chicago. I think the Bears finally get the sort of get this one done. They finally show they can beat Aaron Rodgers. Go Bears.
All right, Nate and I agree. Jack's on the Cheeseheads. All right, we're going to go to word from our sponsors when we get back. Pittsburgh, Dolphins, Seahawks, and Chiefs all coming up. Are the Bengals for real or not? We're going to find out in a couple days, in one day. Well, all those games coming up when we get back. You're on Godzilla Wins. Go to GodzillaWins.com. Every day there's something there for you. GodzillaWins.com. And if you heard Jack and Nate earlier on the 8:30 show, I love the USA at plus 310 today, 10 a.m. If you're around, I love that bet. I saw them play in the World Cup. They're a great young team. They're inspired. They're playing together. I love watching them. I mean, hockey is kind of tough to watch, but I wouldn't look at my phone during that game when they were on the field because I didn't want to miss a play. It was that they're that good. They have some really good skilled players. They're fun to watch. They play good defense. They got a great goalie, and it's an exciting team. They're on at 10 today. Go USA, beat Netherlands, take the 3-1. We're going to be right back after this word from our sponsors.
Not sure about the over-under or how many points to lay? Let Godzilla lead the way. You're listening to the radio show for winners, Godzilla Wins, exclusive on the John Fredericks Media Network.
For entertainment purposes only.
No, yeah, you can forget the Hilton. Great to have you back on Godzilla Wins. Go to GodzillaWins.com. That's GodzillaWins.com, and you're good to go. Want to go there every day. This is not a once-a-week thing. These guys are posting things every single day. There's something for you on Godzilla Wins. Go to GodzillaWins.com. This thing is rocking and rolling. With me, my son Jack. He's the editor of our site, editor-in-chief of Godzilla Wins. He's in Tunica. Nate Perry, my surrogate son. He is also a senior contributor out in Reno at the RevCal, or what is it, NevCal Casino, which he...
The Cal Neva.
We got kicked out of it. Do you have a disguise on there, Nick? I mean, Nick,
yeah, I got a mustache. Put a mustache on today.
They kicked him out for life, but he sneaks back in. See, that's why we have him.
Lifetime ban.
I mean, he got a lifetime ban, and he sneaks back in there with a fake mustache. So now, obviously, he's going to be like one of our senior guys, right? Because he fits the model of the entire company. Don't you agree, Christine?
We all get kicked
I mean,
out.
we all
get kicked out of the
we just got kicked out. You got kicked out of the administration. We just got kicked out of a Herschel Walker rally. What was that, Thursday night? They kicked us out of the rally. We're there with all the cameras and everything, and I'm there, and they just, we're going on national TV, and they come over, they kick us out 15 minutes before it starts. So, Nate, if you didn't get kicked out of something, you probably wouldn't be here, right? I've been kicked, and said, John, you've been kicked out of better places than the Herschel Walker rally at Rome Airport. They kicked us out. And then they're like, well, why'd you kick him out? And they're like, well, why'd you kick us out? Why'd you kick out? I mean, where you got the cameras and everything? And they're like, see that guy over there? And they're like, yeah, John Fredericks. Yeah, that's why we kicked you out. He can't come. He's banned. So we're banned from all the Walker events. So we're all kicked out of everything, Nate. Just because you got kicked out of the Reno casino, I got kicked out of Herschel Walker rally events. Christine got kicked out of the administration. We'll get kicked out. All right, let's go to Jack's favorite team. We're going to let him open. He was all over the Falcons, man. He was a dirty birder all over the clown show. I bet him one time I lost. Unbelievable, right? I bet against him every week. The one time I bet on him, they get beat. Pittsburgh, again, the underdog on the road, going to Atlanta. Atlanta 1 point at home. Jack, you follow this team. Steelers, I don't know. They keep winning games. I don't know how. They're not that good either, but they're going to Atlanta. Atlanta -1. Jack, take us off here.
Yeah, I have a couple goals in life. One of them is to write about the Atlanta Falcons, my favorite team, every week. I haven't been able to reach that goal yet because I'm so busy. Another one of my goals is to get a press pass for the Ole Miss college women's basketball team so I can wear a tuxedo at the press conferences. But the person in charge of the press passes, won't give me a press pass for Ole Miss women's hoops. So 2 goals that I'm failing at right now. I do love the Falcons, but I don't like their team. They're not any good, and they keep losing. I have a huge bet on them to win the NFC South. It's a big future. It could cash, but I cannot take the Falcons in good faith until they figure out their defense. Kenny Pickett is serviceable. He's actually looked pretty good. Like maybe they hit on a first-round draft pick there. TJ Watt is an absolute game changer. We talk about that every week. This is basically pick up, but the point is an important one. I might look at the under 2 at under 43. If Pittsburgh wins, they have to keep the game kind of close. So sometimes Nate doesn't like to do this, but sometimes I like to parlay the spread with the under or the over. So you could do +1 and under 43 if both those hit. The juice is a little better, but I'm going to go Steelers +1 here.
Listen, Atlanta's a clown show. I've been saying it from the beginning of the season. They were 5-0 against the spread to start, and I didn't look very good. Now they're losing every day. I told you Mariota would fade at the end of the season. This guy's not an NFL quarterback. Once again, he throws an interception. Look, so many Titans games, this guy would throw a key interception at the end of the game to lose it. And I knew they were going to start to come. It happened last week. I mean, Marcus is a good young fella. He really is. He was a good teammate with Tennessee. He was a good guy, but he's just not that good. And he throws interceptions. He gets nervous. He gets happy feet. He starts pacing around. He throws picks at key times. We went through it as a Titans fan, season after season until finally Vrabel said I had enough. So, look, I kind of with Jack here. I like Hackett. I think maybe, he's better than we thought. But I like Pittsburgh going in with J.T. Watt, sacking Mariota five times. I like Pittsburgh in this game. I'm going to take the one. Nate?
I like Pittsburgh too here. Jack, our Falcons NFC South bet is not dead. I'm looking at the standings right now. Buccaneers 5-6, Falcons 5-7, Panthers 4-8, Saints 4-8. This thing is wide open still. Every single team in the division has a losing point differential. The best is Buccaneers have scored 200 points, and they've had 203 scored against them, and then it just gets worse from there. So we're still alive. Don't make any mistakes about that. Don't give up on our Falcons. That being said, I like the Steelers here. The Steelers just look like an improving team, and I don't know how the Falcons stop them. I mean, Kenny Pickett's not, setting the world on fire. But if you're just going to let him stand back there in a clean pocket all day, he's going to be able to score against the Falcons. And that's
well, they have no.
Falcons
I mean,
do.
That's it. Nate, they have no defense. I mean,
They have
it's
zero
infuriating to watch this team. Like I watched the game last week, some of it, and I flipped over after the Bengals. From the Bengals and the Falcons. I mean, every time they have to stop somebody, they get guys are wide open. I mean, they're wide open. So how can you bet a team that cannot stop anybody in key situations?
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers win here, I think. The Steelers are just playing so much better recently, and the Falcons just look like a team on the decline.
All right, we're all over the Falcons, all of us. I'm sorry, all over Pittsburgh. Steelers +1. Don't forget John Fredericks Radio Network, the official affiliate of the NFL Pittsburgh Steelers. You can download our app, get them there on all of our radio stations from Philadelphia to Atlanta. We carry the Pittsburgh Steelers also today on WMLB AM 1690. Of course, we cover the Tide, so that game will be on the radio. Whoever the Tide's not playing, right? Oh, so forget that. Forget I said that. Let's go to Fish at Niners. Niners -4 at home over the hot Miami team that's not lost a game with their quarterback. Let's start here with Jack.
So, Miami, right? I mean, Miami's in first place in the AFC North, isn't it? all they do is score. You got to love the under or the over as well. The Niners have a great defense, but Jimmy G is just not as good as people think he is. When you look at his yards, his air yards per pass attempt, he's last in the league. So he's yards per attempt, he's first in the league. Air yards per pass attempt, he's last in the league. What that means is he throws the ball 1 or 2 yards, and then his game-changing receivers and Christian McCaffrey run all over the field, and it makes Jimmy Garoppolo look amazing. I can't see the 49ers keeping up with the Miami Dolphins here. I think the Dolphins are really, really undervalued at +4. So I like the Dolphins here.
Nate?
I like the Dolphins too. I'm a huge Tua believer. I have some MVP tickets on Tua at 50-1. He's down to 5-1 now. I'm part of Tua-non. Let's go, Dolphins.
I love this game. These not that I love the pick, but there's 2 games I love. I told you the first game I love on the card is the Washington Giants game. I love this game to watch it because this is a great offense against a great defense. And that to me is, if you're really a football fan and you follow this stuff, you can't get a better play than this, right? Flying from Miami to San Francisco is like, flying to Moscow, right? It's an 8-hour flight or something. Huge flight they got to get out there. And but they're good. And they got that young coach with the analytics and X's and O's. And the guy looks like he's younger than Nate. What's he, like 29? So, we'll see what happens there. He never played the game. I'm not a fan of that. As you guys know, I'm old school, so I don't like that nonsense. But they're good, and Tua's good, and they got a great offense. They got tremendous speed. But San Francisco right now might have the best defense in all of football. And so I'm going to bet the Niners. I'm going to lay the 4. And I'm not going to bet a lot on it. It's not my best bet by any means. But I'm an old school football guy. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Chuck Knox. Run the ball 50 times, hope the other team intercepts. As Vince Lombardi said, when you throw the football, only 3 things can happen. 2 of them are bad. I'm going to bet the San Francisco 49ers defense at home to finally shut Miami down and Tua loses a game. Maybe they don't cover. Maybe they win by 3. But I'm going to go with defense over offense. NFL, if you got a great defense, you still win games. I'm going with the Niners. You guys obviously going with the fish, but this is going to be a fun game to watch, right? And one of the downsides of betting to San Francisco, if Miami gets ahead 21-3, the game's over, right? There's no way San Francisco has the offense to come back, so they got to keep this game within reason. And if the Dolphins are down 21-3, they do have the offense to come back, so it's going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be a fun game on the card, but I like the Niners, so I'm going to go counter you guys. All right, I'm not even going to bother to handicap the next game. Seahawks going to the Rams. They're -7. I don't know who to start with. You got Jack, I guess. You guys love the Seahawks, blah, blah, blah. Go ahead, have your day in the sun. Jack.
Oh, man, the Seahawks.
Yeah, here we go.
-7 against a putrid Rams team, baby. Look, you can lay – I would lay 35 points with the Seahawks playing the Rams. In Los Angeles, baby. Geno Smith is the most efficient passer in the league. He should win MVP. He should win Comeback Player of the Year. I'm voting for him for mayor of Seattle. He's going to run for president. I'm going to vote for him then. Geno Smith is my guy. I'm taking the Seahawks -7. I take him at -8. I take him at -45. I take the over 2 because the Seahawks are going to score 50 points. The Rams stink. This is a lock.
Nate, go ahead.
Preach. Amen, Jack. I love the Seahawks here. They're just so much better. The Rams are just shutting down their season. Matt Stafford out for the foreseeable future. Cooper Kupp's gone. Allen Robinson just got shut down. It looks like they might shut down Aaron Donald. They don't have a team. Their team stinks. They're a team that's just basically shutting down. It looks like their coach is probably going to leave. He wants to do TV instead of coaching. Blah, blah. Seahawks are still in the thick of this NFC West race. They got to win. They'll put up a number here. Seahawks, easy bet, no brainer.
So last week with the third string quarterback, I take the Rams plus 15.5, just knowing the game was going to be closer than anybody thought, because the Chiefs don't get up for these games. And I was right. I was winning the entire game until the last 3 minutes, where 2 times the Rams get the ball back with 4 minutes and 2 minutes. All they had to do was like throw 3 incomplete passes and punt, and I win the bet. Both times they throw an interception. First time Kansas City gets a field goal, so they're up by 15. So I'm like, wow, I just snuck that one in. Of course, they punt, minute 50 to go. What happens? They throw an interception on the first pass, and then Kansas City kicks a field goal with 35 seconds to go out of spite. So that was the only reason they kicked that field goal, right? It had nothing to do with winning. They just Reed wanted to cover, right, for his fans, right? I'm not stupid. So I lose that bet on the final 30 seconds. Rams suck. I mean, this team's done. McVay's checked out. Got to bet the Seahawks here -7. No question about it. All right, we got 9 minutes. Chiefs go to the Bungles. Tennessee should have won that game, right? Look, I'm not going to whine about calls and this and that, but Nashville, we were at home. Okay, I'm not.
Don't say I'm not going to whine and then whine. Just talk about the Bengals.
They're not that good. Okay, we should have beaten them, right? That was the most frustrating. Titans had 2 frustrating games: the Giants game that they absolutely should have won, and this game. And somehow the Bengals have got our number. I don't know what the hell happens. 3rd down and 12, 3rd down and 15. Guys, our defense fenders fall down. They got passes that are not complete, PI calls that are totally baloney, all this crap, whatever. But Kansas City hasn't looked that good either, right? And they have no defense. So the problem is the Bengals at home now, they're getting 2 against a Kansas City team that's not that good. Either way, though, I'm taking the Chiefs on the road. I'm going to lay the 2 over Cincinnati. Jack.
Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a lot of parlays here. One of them has to do with Cincinnati. Rich on your live asked for a couple parlays, and I love doing this just for a little extra action. The first is an underdog parlay. Incredible little tasty parlay here. I've got Tennessee, Cincinnati, and Miami all winning. That pays out on DraftKings at plus 1466, so 14-1. If that parlay hits, I think you can win that game. Got a 13th parlay as well. Washington, Pittsburgh, and Seattle. 340. That one's definitely that has more.
Jack, you're breaking up. I'm gonna Jack, we're not getting that. If you can hang up and call back, sometimes that happens. I'm in a very remote area, so part of it is me. If you could do that, we'll get back to you. Nate, Kansas City Bengals.
I like the Bengals here. This line just feels like a trap, so I'll take the Bengals.
+2 Bengals. Okay.
+2 Bengals.
All right, I like the Chiefs -2 simply because of Bengals. I just think in these games, Kansas City gets up for these games. I mean, they just seem to get up for them, and Mahomes is going to be running around again like a crazy man. The Bengals had a good game plan for Tennessee last week. They bottled up Derrick Henry. But, the Titans moved the ball just 3 times in the red zone with the best red zone touchdown team in the NFL. We get the red zone 3 times. We settle for 9. Can't win games against good teams when you do that. Simply can't win games. Instead of getting 21, you get 9, you lose. It's simple. I like the Chiefs. Let's go to the Raiders at home, -2 over the Chargers. Why are the Raiders favored, Nate, over anybody?
I have no idea. Why they're favored. I think it's just because the Chargers are just not who we thought they were going to be. The Chargers just stink. They've had the injury bug, sure. I'm not sure their coaching is that good, and they're just not. They haven't played well. They get down really early, and then they just don't respond terribly well. This is actually a weird spot. This is another one that just feels like a trap. Everyone sort of loves the Chargers, preseason hype, blah, blah. Everyone's down on the Raiders because they're just an organization in total dysfunction. I actually kind of like the Raiders here for that reason. So I'll bite on the Raiders +2. Obviously I hate myself for it, or -2. I hate myself for it, but I think the Raiders probably win here. This line just feels fishy to me, and I'm not going to overthink it. I'll just take the weird line.
I kind of agree with that. I kind of agree the line sounds fishy, and I kind of agree with the fact that the Chargers, everybody keeps saying they're really good, and they don't win, right?
Yeah,
Eventually you have to say, they're really good, they got injuries, they don't win. Eventually you got to say they're stopped really good. Derek Carr cried, I get it. the Raiders are beat up. They quit on him, and he's, on TV bawling like a little baby. But they came back. They won last week. And so I'm going with the Raiders. I'm going to Vegas at home, -2. Charger. At some point, you're right, Nate. I agree with you 100%. At some point, towards the end of the season, you have to say, the Chargers just aren't that good, right? So let's stop the nonsense about these injuries. They're not that good. We got Jack back. Jack, you were doing some kind of a teaser mumbo-jumbo three-way parlay thing. What was that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I put it in the chat on Getter. But if you're listening, I like underdog money line parlay, Titans, Cincy, and Dolphins to win. That's 14-1 odds on DraftKings. Favored teams money line parlay. This is a different parlay. Washington, Pittsburgh, Seattle, all to win. That's 3-1 odds, almost 4-1 odds as well. So Tennessee, Cincy, Miami, you can parlay those, and you can parlay Washington, Pittsburgh, and Seattle, all money lines. That get you some good juice. Those parlays can be fun. If they hit, you feel like a genius.
All right, Sunday night, Chargers, Raiders. What do you like? -2 Raiders at home, Vegas.
I'm not watching that game. I'm just going to go to healthysell.com and get some REM sleep and down that thing and go to bed. I'm not watching that game.
See, you're smart like your father. That's why I love my sons. They're so smart. Good thing you guys take after me. All right, before we get to the Cowboys, I got to read this text here by Eric Fox at RAV, my TV producer. He says, if you talk Heisman, Matt Dugan is the front runner at this point after the poor performance last night by Caleb Williams, led by USC. He also says, newsflash, TCU has everyone playing today. Just saying. They got everyone playing. Also, Eric Fox, a former tight end, TCU Horned Frogs. So he kind of knows his team a little bit.
Oh,
he's
our homer text. Okay.
TV
Got
producer. It's a homer text, yes. He went to TCU and played tight end. So, yeah, it's a little bit of homer text. Okay, let's go to Monday night. Nate's Cowboys, -10 against Jeff Saturday's Colts. Nate, start us off. We got 2 minutes, babe.
All right. You're going to get mad at me, John. Bad juju. This line's just way too long. Colts been playing pretty decent. The Cowboys been playing great, but like 11.5, 10.5, whatever it is, that's too many points. I like the Colts here.
Oh my God! You know what? It's just wrong. You know what? I love you to death. It's just wrong. What you do is wrong. And what? It's wrong. You cannot bet against your team. It's wrong. It would be like me betting against the Astros or the Titans. It comes back to haunt your butt. I can't believe you're doing this. And I tell you what, when we go to Nashville at Christmas week and we're at that Nashville Cowboys game, you better damn well bet the Titans or I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to just tell you that right now. I can't believe you're betting against your team. That is it's bad for the soul, man. I'm telling you, it's bad juju. I love Dallas -10. Colts suck. Jack, close us out.
Colts.
Oh, you guys are the worst. This team is horrible. How can you think? I mean, Dallas is going to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl, by the way, is going to be Dallas Titans, right? So the game we got on the 29th where you guys are coming in and Joe's going, right? We got all of our Titans gear on. That's the preamble to the Super Bowl because Super going to be Titans Dallas. Because you guys are betting against Jimmy Starr from Indy just chimes in. He's like, Colts, baby. They're pathetic.
First of all, we're not all wearing Titans gear to the game.
Oh, God. You better bet. If you go to that game, and after all these games where you're betting against your team, if you go to that game in Nashville with us, and by the way, you pissed me off, so I got your own hotel room. I kicked you guys out of mine. If you go to that game and you bet Dallas, okay, I'm going to disown you. After all these weeks betting against your team, I can't believe it. I tell you what, man. It's going to come back to bite you somewhere in your life, in the karma of life. I could be teaching at Vegas or teaching at Reno. Somewhere, somebody's going to come up to you in life and they're going to say, you know what your problem is? And they're going to be, what? You're going to be like 50. And they're going to say, you bet against your team on multiple weeks. I'm telling you, man, it's bad for the soul. Bad for the soul. I'm here to redeem you as your surrogate father. I'm here to redeem you, Nate. I'm here to redemption. I'm the man of redemption. I'm the man of second chances. I'm going to give you a second chance to bet the Cowboys next week.